just like that, part 4.
It made it to
Campus
number
Confidential Summer Camp. We're at the end. It's always sad when camp comes to an end, isn't it?
It is. Now, some people might have started at number 4, and this could be number 1. So welcome.
Oh, so welcome. I am the person that starts books, magazines from the back.
There you go.
I look at things from the back, so I probably would have been one of these. So glad you're here. Loren, tell us what they're going to hear in this one.
Well, in this final, or maybe first,
who knows,
part
or
of
second,
our series, we really acknowledge that there's some people that are struggling to get through the summer, and that also it's because they feel like there's so much to be done and waiting for something to end so they can get on to vacation. The truth is, in this episode, we talk about this is the job. Leadership is hard, and if you haven't taken your vacation or taken care of yourself, do that now before the fall starts.
Get on it. Enjoy this episode. I've heard from a few people recently that they just need to get through summer. That we're at this point that it's like, I feel like there's this lack of enjoyment of summer. Feels like they're overscheduled. There's lots happening, whether it's personally or professionally, and it's a balance of all of that. And it's like, well, if I could just actually get through summer, then I get back to the routine that I know how to handle.
Are these higher ed people, Kelsey?
Yeah, some higher ed people.
Because usually it's if I can just get through the semester, get to summer, and
yeah,
you're here and get through
and I
summer.
I think it's some association people who support higher ed folks. But I'm just wondering if, what's your summers like? What are you planning for? How do you balance kind of this, maybe a slowdown for summer, hopefully enjoy it?
Yeah,
take
I'm
on
doing
new roles.
The things
I don't know.
I always do. Like I'm so sad to hear you say that people are in a not looking forward to summer space, because typically that is like a little bit of step back, rejuvenation, maybe some different work. For all of us who work in those higher ed or those school-based academic schedules. That just makes me sad.
I know. I was like, okay, so how do we flip this so that it's not like we just have to get through summer, that I'm
trying to slow summer down.
Right? Yeah. Maybe that's it. It's like everything's so scheduled.
What's interesting is a couple of years ago, I don't know if it was summer or a semester or a project, but I was saying to my wife, if I could just get through this, then, and her response to me, then what? Like you've been saying, if I could get through this, then what? Like what happens at the end of this? Because there's going to be the next thing, and there's going to be the next thing. And so it's, and I think her point was not to dispirit me and to suggest that there was never an end to the misery I was experiencing at the moment, but to reframe it as, if that's maybe not the best way to think, because there's just never an end to that.
This is the ride.
This is the ride. This is what you've chosen. This is what you do. Embrace it, because, this is why they need you, right? I say all the time, if all I did was respond to email and go to meetings, anybody could do it, right? I mean, they have us for the hard days. So I think she reframed that for me, because she noticed that I've been saying for years, if I can just get through this, then it'll be better. And it's like, well, no, then the next thing will be there.
Yeah.
And I figure out how to embrace it.
I think your episode, Jeremiah, I think you had said something like, by the time it gets to me, all the easy decisions have been made.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, this is the ride that the job is, and, it's going to be the next thing and the next thing, perhaps. Yeah.
Well, which is all the more reason that we have to step back. We have to take breaks. We have to go glamping. We have to get on a river. We have to, do the things that rejuvenate us, because it is only the hard stuff that comes to us. And, rest and taking time away is part of being, I think, a successful professional. It's not delaying the vacation until the thing gets done. Cause like to your point, then there'll just be the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it took me a while to learn that. Like, I don't think I really learned that till about 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe a little longer now, but I have rituals around time off. Like Kelsey, you do too. I mean, I take 2 weeks every Christmas. I take 2 weeks every summer. I get 6 weeks of vacation. I take it all most years. And every time it feels like, oh God, what am I doing going on vacation with all this stuff going on? No, you need to go on vacation so you can come back, rested, rejuvenated, with some new thoughts, new connections, etc. But it's not how we're raised, right? Not how I was raised. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're no good to our organizations if we're not rested, right?
Yeah.
Anytime I'm in front of, in my normal job, when I'm in front of my division, as much as possible, I'm like, use every minute of your vacation time. That's what it's for, right? Like, I mean, you can't use it third week of August, so let's, so don't even ask,
right?
But just figure out when your cadence is. Because when I say this, I mean, somebody always grumbles, well, we can't use it in the summer because we're doing this or we're doing, well, there's some time when you can use it. Figure that out for yourself and use it. It doesn't have to be all at once. It could be, one Friday a month, whatever it looks like for you. But I totally agree. I mean, I really do think, and I learned this, Loren, you mentioned my episode. I talked a little bit about what I learned from my grandfather. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I learned from my grandfather is you just got to get away. You got to turn your brain off for a minute, just to give it a rest. You got to see something new. You got to get out of your routine, and you're just better at stuff. So,
yeah, Dretta, I know you broke your wrists. How's that impacting your summer?
Oh, bummer.
It's give and take a little bit. I'm better now that I have this. I'm actually in occupational therapy, and they gave me this. They made it in the arts and craft room. It's so cute. I chose the pink. But it frees my fingers up and allows me to do more. Previously, I didn't have access to my fingers, so driving was hard. I was working mostly from home. My dog became a community dog because I couldn't take care of her. So now I'm getting back to, getting to the other side, just trying to find things that, kind of relax me outside of work. And it's going for a walk with the dog or, looking at my son sends me videos of my grandkids all the time. They're in track and field and, things like that kind of, relaxes me and allows me to kind of get back to an even keel before I read that next email at 6 a.m.
Yeah. Loren, were you going to ask something?
No, I was just thinking to myself, a lot of what we've been talking about is how do you find for yourself that thing that helps you cope or center or go back or get through. And I guess I was just thinking a little bit about how the transferability, if it feels like at work, let's say, it's hard to have any control, there are other ways to find it. And I've just been appointed to a housing commission because there's a real lack, like lots of places in the country, of affordable and attainable housing. I don't really know a lot about this, but I've concluded, and I was thinking about it today with regard to sort of controllability. I know how to organize meetings. I know how to invite voices that are unheard into the conversation. I know how to make sure that the decisions are representative of a community that's not necessarily seen. I know a little bit about construction, renovation, those sorts of things. I know how to ask good questions. So what I was thinking is, this is a little unformed, but to the extent that we've been talking about how do you find for yourself that controllability or that get through or that sense of centering, maybe it's doing a little bit of an inventory about what we can do, and what skills we do have and who really does need the things that each of us does. And I'm finding satisfaction in a way. The only reason I joined this thing, was pointed to it, is because it's a brand new commission, because it's a real problem there's not a solution to, and they were trying to find people who would say yes. And so I said, yeah, okay. But I'm learning actually that I'm kind of enjoying it, because it's maybe because I'm finding some controllability around it or something. I'm not sure, but that might be a way for people who are listening, or people on this episode, to put themselves in a position that when everything else maybe feels like I have less control, I actually can create some conditions for controllability and happiness and centering, maybe. I don't know. That's what I was pondering as you saw my stare into space.
Well, but like what I hear you saying too, Loren, it kind of comes back to like, what are the 9 core things we're doing for students? Like, reminding ourselves of these core skills or competencies that we have. And yeah, we're always, learning and growing in certain areas, but, I think all of us on this podcast have been professionals for a while. And so even though the context we're working in is changing, the students are changing, the environment is changing, all these things, we still have core skills that we bring to the table that have value in, achieving the goals of the organization, or leading through change, or, however you want to describe this space that we're in. And maybe it's helpful to just remind ourselves, like you have just had this experience of, like, this is what I'm good at, right? Are these things, and this is where I can apply it. And so it's both like control, but also a reminder that, like, no, we're still having impact, right? Like, that male position matters, right? It does. And you're going to work that bureaucracy, and you're going to get it filled, right? Because you know how to do that. And that's good, important work, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. I think so many times it's easy to say what we don't want to do. It's hard to say what we want to do, or how we would like to spend our time. It's weird. The human brain is a very fascinating thing to me, of the chatter up here for some of us. I want to take a few minutes. Is there anything that, I know we set up this conversation, if there's anything that you all wanted to bring to the table to ask each other about or think about? I also realize there's probably not a lot of brain space before you show up to something like this, but I want to pause if there's anything that's on one of your minds that you'd like to present to the group.
Or maybe even something you'd like for somebody listening who's trying to get through summer, or whatever it is. What advice you might have for people even who are in that state of mind.
And I still really want to go get a lighter and light this. It's not going to burn the house down, right? Talk amongst yourselves. Let's think about it.
I think it's important, when I think about summertime and maybe a more typical summertime, I think about, when we're going through in higher education, we live by semesters, and you're just going, and you're responding, and there's research that suggests that deep thinking is good for us and makes us better at our jobs, and oftentimes there's just no time for it. And so I wonder, I wonder how much better we would be if we found some time for that deep thinking, for that investment in ourselves, for that professional reading, for that finding the day and time of day that our brain is at peak operating capacity, and leveraging it to do something other than a meeting or email. That you don't actually need peak capacity for, which is what we usually use it for during our normal time. So I think it's not advice, it's not a suggestion. I just wonder how much better we might be if we would find time. Listen, after July 4th, summer's essentially over on a college campus anyway, because we're gearing back up. But from May 15th to June 15th, oftentimes there's a little bit of we have some agency in terms of what we do with our time, more so than we might at any other time of year. And I just wonder, now it's June 13th, so maybe it's too late.
It's like, you have 2 days, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Where were your deep thinking? No, I'm just kidding.
Or insert date that this airs.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I do think that sometimes we just, I don't know. I think that maybe there's something to that, because I really do think, last week I was facilitating a professional development opportunity, and it's for an organization that I'm on the board of. And it's really about thinking about how to do your work differently. And one of the things that we encourage them to do is on Monday, this past Monday, when you're going to work, go to work a different way. When you get back to your office, arrange your office differently, right? I mean, just, how do you do small things to maybe change your habits and think differently about your work? So anyway, I could go on and on just sort of musing about that, but it's really advice to myself and something that I've not been good at doing, but I wonder how much better I would be if I did.
Well, you just changed offices, so
Yeah.
Yes, I did change offices.
Well, one thing that I've used and I continue to use right now, and boy, does it take work, but is, what would I normally do and how do I do the opposite? So like
it's opposite day.
It's and it's the thing that I when I'm feeling tired or spun out, or the list feels too long, or I have too many things that I feel like I need to do, typical Kelsey answer would be just push harder or work through it or do more. And so I'm really trying to be like, okay, what happens if I would just do the opposite? Like, what if I just stop? And it's quite fascinating, really, to experiment on yourself. It takes a lot of work. And what I have found is if you take the space, nothing's ever as bad as it seems in the moment. The list isn't as long as it feels in the moment. The priorities that I thought were priority really aren't priority. And so, I don't know, I just keep, okay, how do I stop and do opposite of what I would normally do? Whatever it is.
Another example that might be, I think it might have been Oprah who said this, but this sort of I think it's the 10s rule. Will this matter in 10 minutes, 10 weeks, 10 months, or 10 years? Which is a way to put the decision that you have to make, or the decision you want to make, into some perspective.
Well, it's never going to matter in 20 years from now. Right? Maybe it will.
Maybe.
Depends.
Don't commit crimes, and it probably won't.
That's true. I was listening to another podcast, and they were like, would you cover up a murder for one of your children? I was like, oh.
Whoa. This podcast just took a turn. Only murders.
I was like, oh boy. I'm like, I don't know. Let's see how that goes.
One of the things I gave myself permission for, this is about a year ago, often I am living and dying by my list, like between travel and just juggling everything.
I love a good list, Pam, though. I mean, a good list is a good list.
It is. And it feels good crossing it off. And so there's tactical, tasky things. There's even writing down okay, I need to strategically think about X this month, right? All the things. And, then I get to the end of the month or the quarter and, carry things over to the next quarter that didn't get done, et cetera. And I watched myself carry some things over, quarter after quarter. So now I'm like, I might have written something on the list that I thought, I should do that, or I should think about that, or I should, do some reading on that. I give myself permission to take it off the list, right? I think it was a good idea in the time. If it hasn't happened 3 weeks later, does it really need to happen? Maybe it doesn't. So now I give myself permission to just, that was a nice idea. We're not doing that.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
I like that.
I love a good list too. I just finished a book and forgot that I put it on my list. I have a Goodreads list, So I put it on the list, even though I'm like, it's got to be on the list. The book I read the thing. It's got to be on the list. Usually I put it reading and want to read,
Yeah.
But I love a good list too, Pam.
I mostly love it for the crossing off.
Oh,
Have you ever written something down after, even though you've already done it, just to be able to cross it off?
100%.
Jeremiah doesn't resonate with that.
I'm so envious of people who who are good at lists.
But there's something to be said. I think it was like a Myers-Briggs training I went through or something that there is one of the personality types where it's like lists don't do anything for you. And then there's the people that love a list that like,
then there's
can't
people who have
wait.
a good memory.
Oh, that's a long gone.
Yeah. The lists for me are like, I won't remember if I don't put it down.
Yeah. And maybe it's not worth remembering if you don't remember it. Right?
I'm good at working through a list. I'm not good at making a list. It's sort of like I'm pretty organized in my mind, but space, if I had to reorganize my closet, for instance, it would just, I wouldn't even know where to start. But if you gave me a list and, okay, this is what you do in this, I can follow the list. That's just, the making lists is not how my brain works. Executing lists all day long. Got it.
Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? I love it. Anything else anyone wanted to bring up before we?
I feel like I got to bring things up along the way.
Yeah, I do too. I feel good about the conversation. Yeah. Loren, anything hanging for you?
No, just some gratitude. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say full disclosure. Loren always prepares like 25 questions in a list before we show up this. He's so diligent and it's fabulous. And then I feel like we never...
That's okay.
We cover some of them, but...
The list is really more about getting my head in the game more than, or the questions and things. No, just gratitude. And I was thinking the phrase in my mind was personal commencements. We kind of started this conversation with Jeremiah saying just had commencement. It's so great. Love it every year. We've had some conversations about, rituals and, finding balance, all these kinds of things, because leadership's hard. And I was thinking maybe we each need to find personal commencements. What are those things for you, and make sure that they happen on some schedule, just like we expect move-in, orientation speeches, commencements to happen. What are the personal commencements in your life that you can build, you can structure, you can organize in such a way that you get those moments of celebration, those moments of affirmation? That's a tool that we have some control over. It might be that, annual golf trip you always take with friends or whatever it is. Personal commencements was something I was thinking a little bit about. And, the reframing was another theme today. I was thinking about, Kelsey, this notion of sort of positive mindsets. This is the ride, that you get the hard decisions. That's just kind of how it is. And after this one, there'll be another one. And that's just kind of how the game works. But sort of reframing that maybe as a way to fill up the bucket a little bit. When the bucket's feeling depleted, you can kind of fill your own bucket with a reframing. And then the last thing I was thinking a little bit about was this math versus 9. So when so much is changing, what is staying the same? And being clear about this helps us make sure the things that shouldn't change, back to your panel conversation a little bit, being clear about what shouldn't change helps us not get wrapped up around the stuff that is changing. If the thing that shouldn't change is changing, that's the thing to get exercised about. Everything else we can kind of let go. I mean, those were just, to me, the things that were sitting with me a little bit from today, and some gratitude that, once again, I've learned a great deal from each of you.
The only thing I would add is, I think there was the question is, what's enough?
What's enough?
I think whatever you're doing is enough.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the whole, right? It's enough. Whatever you have to bring is enough.
You all are special people. We wanted to just kind of have a chill session a little bit because we sensed, as Kelsey was saying, that people are kind of trying to get through summer or get through the next thing or survive or get some control back or whatever it is. And we've also heard from listeners, they really just love hearing from other people that are relatable. And you were folks we thought of when we thought, well, let's just have a summer camp. So we're grateful to you for being who you are. You're doing some amazing things and you're real difference makers in this world we're in. So thank you.
Thanks,
Well,
Loren.
Kelsey, Loren, thanks for the mug.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
And
You're
for-
welcome.
and the fireplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I did stop myself because it does say outdoor use only. Even though I
Yeah,
just
I
think
would-
it would be okay.
Is it
I would-
opposite day, Kelsey? I feel like it's a good
I'm gonna
opposite
say,
moment
did
for you.
I would
Yeah.
I
definitely
might-
roll with that.
I might go on my deck and fire it up,
There you
see what
go.
happens.
Well, this podcast is fire.
No cap. No
back
cap.
to your sayings.
Definitely not mid.
Yeah, not mid. All right.
All right. Well, thank you all for taking the time. Have a great summer trips,
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
Happy
Graduation.
summer.
Okay.
Thanks for having us. Look forward to
you.
talking soon.
Okay.